This episode contains information about The Mandalorian, chapters 1 through 7. Spoiler discretion is advised.
By like 7 o'clock, I will do a test run, sure. Oh god, I can't do it. Closing with hiccups.
Hello, and welcome to the podcast. My name is Patrick, and I'll be your chief flight attendant today. We'll begin the show in a few minutes, but first I'd like to acquaint you with some important safety information. 3 sheets to the mouse may contain language and subject matters that aren't suitable for smaller aviators, so listener discretion is advised. When the intro music begins, please take a seat and partake of any carry-on item. This includes bottles, flasks, cans, fine cigars, and skin mags. Okay, let's review. That is, F-bombs, earmuffs, get drunk, smoke 'em if you got 'em, and send nudes. Anything else? Oh yeah. Enjoy the show.
I know it sounds sorted, but you'll be rewarded when at last I am given my dues. And injustice deliciously squared, be prepared.
Hello there. One of y'all supposed to say General Kenobi.
Oh, that was supposed to be Kenobi.
No, that was just hello there, and that's everybody knows hello there, and you follow that up with General Grievous saying Kenobi.
You do?
Revenge of the Sith, you do, yeah. You're not
I
familiar
just watched
with
that the other day too, and I don't remember that.
the hello there meme
Oh no.
on the internet? Oh, okay. Well, boomers.
You're also talking Revenge of the Sith, which is episode what?
Read.
6-3.
Again, what?
Listen.
I don't remember an episode 3.
It was. I watched this day. It was actually. I actually really enjoyed it. Having watched.
I just
it again.
rewatched them all over leading up to Rise of Skywalker. Well, with the exception of Last Jedi, because it's not on the Plus Jet, and I didn't feel like.
Either way, hello there. Welcome to
Aloha.
3 Sheets to the Mouse. We're here to talk about the adult side of Disney. My name's Mikey, and joining me tonight are 2 guys that have never tasted blurg. Tim,
It is the way.
Adam.
You don't know my life.
You're right. I mean, I figured you're a man of refined palate and fish lizards, as my wife
Listen,
calls
what
them.
I do in my own time is my business.
So you're into blurg husbandry. You got a
Quill
blurg
was.
farm.
Hey, everybody got to make a living
You
somehow.
got to get that monies. Got to get them credits
Galactic credit.
that aren't worth anything. So yeah, we're here to talk about Disney stuff tonight. We're talking about The Mandalorian. It's the Mando show, except we're not really doing a recap or anything like that because you've all fucking seen them already. We're just gonna pull the curtain back a little bit and look at what's happening underneath the helmet, as it were.
What's happening underneath the helmet? Jar Jar Binks.
That's exactly right.
Fuck you. Fuck the both of you if that's the truth.
There's actually an internet rumor going around that he's a Gungan. That's why he won't take the helmet off.
That's
He's not a Gungan.
Not a
We
Gungan.
see him as a kid.
And he doesn't speak Gungan.
He's human. We see him
maybe
as a kid. We see him as a kid during flashbacks. He is not. No,
maybe
No.
you're seeing
No.
some other kid through the eyes of a Gungan.
it's not in water. I don't.
Well, I mean, Jar Jar wasn't in
You're
water
wrong.
for most of episode 1, to be honest with you.
Unfortunately, they should have left him underwater, in my opinion. but-
No, they couldn't. Boss Nass didn't want him down there.
Nobody wanted him anywhere.
Listen,
Drowned.
he's wise in the ways of the Force, and no one's gonna buy into that. He's basically like
It wouldn't.
Chevy
Okay.
Chase if he was a
Because
Jedi.
we're rewatching the Clone Wars, and now we're going to get really off topic for the even topic start.
Okay, I just
And-
mentioned Jar Jar.
Happy-
That's all it takes.
No, but happy accidents do have a tendency to happen around him when you think about it. Like, especially if you watch the Clone Wars.
Oh, yeah.
So, would it surprise me if he's in touch with the Force? No. Will he ever be smart enough to be a Jedi Master? Absolutely not.
Sounds like something a Sith would say. Only Sith speak in absolutes.
Oh well, call me what I am. Say my name.
Oh man. Well, hey, what's in your drink? What are you drinking tonight, Adam? Darth, I don't know.
Darth Judius?
Yes. Darth Judius.
Sorry. Just have a gin and tonic, because I have to.
Darth.
It's a really big gin and tonic.
Yeah,
It's a
well,
gin and
you know what? As long as you got more tonic than gin, you'll be okay.
tonic. If only I make them that way.
He makes them like Jen makes them. Gin with a splash of tonic.
That's just enough to make it a cocktail. It's a cocktail, you're not a drunk.
Exactly. There's ice in it. It's fine.
And, Mr. Tim, I don't have to work tomorrow. What do you got?
And that's why I'm drinking a pogtail.
Oh, you've been drinking a lot of those here lately.
Yeah, well, we have the rest of that pog.
I was going to say, I guess you got to get rid of that because you keep...
Unfortunately, the rum is going away faster than the pog juice is.
Because Tim makes drinks the same way Jen makes drinks.
Well, the correct ratio is 1-to-1.
Yeah, but is it like 1 shot to 1 liter?
No.
It's still a 1 and a 1.
1 cup of rum to 1 cup of pog juice.
It's still a lot of rum.
That's why that handle is almost gone already.
And what rum are you using on your cocktails?
Captain Morgan Silver.
Captain
We
Silver.
were finally able to find it with the help of Mary Yeats.
They're interesting ladies. And they've always got their lackey, their henchman.
Oh, they're Duncan?
Yes, they're Duncan.
Yes.
All right. Tonight I am drinking something out of a brown bottle. It's again from Michigan. It is a cherry vanilla honey wine, which I guess means mead. Basically, it's a mead with cherry and vanilla in it, but it's a sparkling mead. I guess you say it's carbonated.
I like carbonated.
I've never had a sparkling mead.
So it's a little bit fizzy. It's not bad. It's nice and refreshing tasting.
I'm sensing a pattern with the Michiganders. They love their cherries.
They're fans of cherries. I mean, what else have they got? Snow and cherries.
They've got water.
Oh, that's why they had to use honey. Well, I don't know. This has a picture of a well on it. For years, King Orchards has been growing some of the finest tart cherries in northern Michigan, and we're lucky to have them down the road. We use King cherry juice along with local honey and Madagascar vanilla beans to create this sweet, delicious cherry mead. Nothing to do with the well. I thought it would tell me more about what aquifers were used in the making of this, but no, it just says be well. Okay, well, you know what? You lost a customer there. Whoever made this, Bel Air, who the hell makes this? Does Be Well?
Bel Air, Michigan.
It's only 7%.
Mine is significantly
So
worse.
not your fault, Rachel. It does taste really good. I'm enjoying it. So, as you were, just to carry on. All right. Well, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and younglings of all ages, hopefully over the age of 18, though, it's a salute to all ages, but mostly adults.
Younglings are dead.
I saw that just today. Yeah, he went ham on them little shits.
Mm-hmm.
Man, oh man, did. Okay, so today let's we sit down. We're going to talk about the Mandalorian, which if anybody who's got Disney Plus knows what the Mandalorian is, you don't even really have to be a Star Wars fan to get it, engrossed in it, because you don't have to know a whole lot about Star Wars to enjoy it, and that seems to be a really great selling point on convincing people to sit down and watch it with. Series has about a $100 million budget for the first season. Was not spent on location taxes and fees, I'll tell you right now. And everything says it's like the most popular streaming show right now. You can't really nail down stats because Disney doesn't release the stats of their originals. Nielsen can't get that, so.
But neither does Netflix.
That's what I mean. Yeah, streaming services, they don't have to. Netflix does on something.
No.
Oh, they don't.
It's all numbers that they self-put out. That they say that this many people watch this show.
Oh, okay. Well, see, even Disney is not putting that out. Like, I tried to find some type of metric on the show, and I couldn't find anything. I found a lot of stats about Mandalorian RPG characters for Dungeons & Dragons, but aside from that, if you look up the Mandalorian and stats, that's what you get.
But the Mandalorian was just not this character. There is a whole Mandalorian thing.
Oh, no, I know. It's a race, not a person.
Correct.
And here's something. It's so sought out. It is the most pirated digital series to date because Disney Plus is not available in much of it.
That's what it was.
Not until after the first of the year.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, you got a lot of folks over there getting it on their LimeWires and their torrents and stuff like that. So, interesting move there, Disney. I mean, everything's kind of already been spoiled for them, even if they're not wanting to, pirate it. That's a dick move, man.
I'm sure it has to do with more stuff than we know, though. I don't know if there's different kind of rules and regulations when it comes to streaming services in Europe.
I don't either, and then
Plus,
there could be.
It makes more sense for them to release it here first because most of your streaming sites are based out of Europe.
True, and it may also be something where they don't want to tax their infrastructure infrastructure so greatly with the worldwide release, because it's not just the Mandalorian's not out there. It's just like there's no Disney Plus there. And I think I saw somewhere where it was like supposed to be March of 2020. I don't know if they moved that up or not. But that kind of sucks. But you know what? Fuck your tea.
Yeah, it's supposed to launch in UK, Germany, France, Italy, and Spain on March 31st, 2020.
Ooh, the end of March.
Yeah, and they caution that certain titles will vary by territory.
Oh, fucking Brexit.
So
they're not gonna
I had a
release certain
feeling
stuff
there
in
was
certain countries.
different issues with licensing and stuff that's preventing it just to make an easy launch.
So there's a lot of amazing design and technology being used in this. I think Adam is the best person to tell us about some of the film locations they've had for the Mandalorian.
Oh, you mean the two?
Yes, the both places it was filmed, in space and not in space.
In space and on the ground. Well, some of it was filmed in Death Valley. Very little bit of film was in Death Valley, though. A majority of this is actually taking place on soundstage, and they're not using the typical green screen approach that most of your other bigger pictures. I don't know if Marvel is king of green screen right now. I mean, everything they do, any of the Spider-Mans have been green. A lot of the Spider-Mans have been green.
Oh yeah. They had a whole movie about Spider-Man that was based around the concept of green screens.
Exactly.
With Mysterio,
So, Industrial Light and Magic, which we all know is a subsidiary of Lucasfilm, subsidiary. I can actually say that word when I'm not thinking about it or trying to, look at it.
you get 3 swings and you hit it.
So, which is Lucasfilms, which was founded back in 1975 by George Lucas, is now Disney-owned. Shocker.
We're all Disney-owned.
They created a new kind of technology called Stagecraft. Now, Stagecraft is the best way I can explain it is sort of like Green Screen Plus. So, instead of just using a blank green screen, they're actually using pixel displays. And these are huge, big pixel displays. The first time they ever used it was most recently in Solo in 2018. And basically how it works is that they're displaying all this background for the actors to act again. Instead of that green screen where you're actually kind of having to imagine and kind of play and there's nothing really you can see to interact with. You have a full display that's actually being filmed through LCD display.
Okay.
Now, some other cool things about this thing is that, they can make pretty much a box and put whatever they want in this box. As to show movement, the actual scenes will move behind the act and it can go with the camera. So it's kind of hard to imagine what I'm talking about, but if they show them walking, the screen can move itself. The scenery can move in the back. And the test demo that I watched was basically 3 walls and the display on the 3 wall. And you couldn't tell the difference. I thought they were actually filming in them.
So I guess it's a lot like sitcoms would always film, like when someone's in a car, they would be inside of a car, but they'd have like that projector on the back wall behind them to make it look like they were driving around town.
Yes.
Except it's like that, but on a much more grandiose scale.
This is a 3D visual environment is what they're calling it, and this can change in real time to match the perspective. So camera moves, background moves, and everything looks like it's sort of like, the best way I can picture it is sort of like a holodeck.
Okay.
But of course, I mean, it's not as advanced. This is just scenery and stuff behind you. It's not props and stuff like that. But it kind of looks like a holodeck. It's next gen. If you had this in your house, you'd be playing video games.
So they've got their physical set pieces built inside this box with all the screens around it that allow them to accurately mimic lighting instead of having to try to match that up.
Correct. So it's saving money on shoots. It's saving money on, we can only shoot, and it's saving time, because think about, you can only shoot from, you want a dusk scene, and you can only shoot from like 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. to get that lighting right. Well, now you can have that scene all the time at any time during any day. You don't have to worry, well, the sun is going to be in this right position on January 31st for blah, blah, blah hours. You don't have to worry about that. It's there. It can light. And again, you're not sending 700 people to the Antarctica to film an ice scene on an ice planet. Yeah, exactly. And you don't have to build, I mean, they're still using some typical sets like every movie does. Like the space station, they had a set of a space, the interior and stuff like that. But a majority of your landscape shots are made using this technology.
It's kind of taken the place of the guy who was in charge of being a matte painter. Now it's just rendering it out kind of on a computer.
Well, green screen took away a lot of the matte painters when you really think about it.
Well, I still think a lot of guys were doing matte paintings and then they were just being put behind the green screen in post-production. But this right here is happening, like this is eliminating a lot of the post-production that would go into, replacing a background.
This is more pre-production.
Yeah.
You're going to have to figure out what kind of lighting, what kind of landscape, everything, all that has to be done before you start shooting.
Right.
And I mean, you can change it on the fly if something's not working, but I guess you're going to have a limited amount that you...
Man, so like just everybody kind of just stayed in one spot for the whole season, except for when they had to go to space and then back on land. Well, how do you feel about that? Being
all right.
Fooled.
I didn't know they were doing this until I started researching. And I figured, it should be interesting where they film this stuff. And it's expensive. So this is not going to be done on every film. And it is done with and a true LCD crystal display. There's nothing faking this. So they actually have to grow the crystals. And the screens are super expensive, time consuming. And I find it really interesting if it's the quality and it's new technology. I can only see the quality of this increasing. So anything that can be more imaginative in a film, in a universe like Star Wars, where they can do more things, I'm very interested. I don't think every film needs to be this, but I mean, you look at all the films that are coming out that are now CGI that they're calling live action.
And that, I was just about to say, do you see this being used in the next Avatar movies?
I don't know if, Avatar should be in the box already.
Well, then it could still be having been used if it was
used ILM. It can definitely be used if it was ILM. I don't know who they use for their production house. I mean, Solo still has some classical green screen as well. It's not just this, but this is a lot of the shots that you couldn't get real life on green screen or look too weird on. That's what this is.
That is really, really cool. And I guess it kind of makes sense that this would be something pushing the technology bounds a little bit, because Favreau did do Jungle Book and Lion King. And if you didn't know, Lion King wasn't filmed on location in Africa and or a backyard, you wouldn't know, because those set pieces on the Lion King would just look spot on. The lions' faces, not so much, but the backgrounds and the rocks looked like rocks.
Well, I mean, I don't mind this as long as we don't. I really don't mind.
I don't mind it either.
I do kind of would miss like trying to find some of the places. Like if this replaced everything, like even like if the technology was cheap and readily available, and it started everything's filmed this way, TV shows, everything else. I think that would take away from like movies that are shot in New York because it's supposed to be New York. You couldn't go visit some of the, and that kind of takes away from it. But chances of me going to visit Hobbitlanders are slim to none.
Or the island the island in Ireland where Luke held up for.
Oh, the Porg Island, or Game of Thrones, anywhere.
Yeah.
However, if Disney just installs this in a park and tells me I can be part of a film and have it be good quality, sign my ass up.
So if this gets supplemented into what is it, the Void?
Oh, you see, I don't know if it would work for the Void.
Because the Void has that 3D
and
element to it.
It works for filming. It doesn't necessarily really bring you into an environment. It works for film. So this would be more like how you would like film your own Soarin' kind of situation. I mean, I'm sure there's a way they can do an individual attraction that way, but it's probably not there just yet.
I don't know. They're pretty far into a lot of stuff, like with their animatronics and that fucking robot that can do gymnastics off of swinging a rope or swinging off of a rope. He flips and somersaults and shit. Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That catapult, they launch him and he does, so who knows where this is going to end up going in the practical.
Skynet.
They get
Skynet.
yeah. And then they'll put us all into these little boxes and we think that we're living,
The Matrix.
a wonderful life, and we're not. It's going to be a Truman Show. All right. Well, that's real interesting stuff, Adam. I mean, when I was doling out who does what, I was thinking, like you were, let's see all these really cool places that this was filmed. And then you find out,
Nope.
it was all in a building, pretty much, except for like 2 shots in the Death Valley where they had to have real sand.
It gets everywhere. I hate
It does. That's, what? So does Death. Well, okay. Well, I'll jump in next. I kind of wanted to take a peek at the call sheets for these episodes, looking at the cast a little bit and some of the cameos that have been in there. So maybe a lot of this maybe some of it you guys and those listening don't know. But obviously we'll start with the Mandalorian himself, Pedro Pascal, which if you've seen Game of Thrones, you might recognize him as the Viper.
Because yes, you can recognize him with that helmet on.
Well, you recognize his voice.
It could be anyone.
Fair enough.
Well,
you wouldn't recognize him, but he did play the Viper, Tyrion's champion that got popped like a pimple by the mountain.
He got his eyeballs down.
Well, you fucking it's like Syndrome said, you caught me monologuing. Oh, don't monologue, man. But I just realized this, and I just watched Kingsman: The Golden Circle the other day. He's the guy in the not like the guy, but he's one of the statesmen with his Burt Reynolds mustache going on and the cowboy hat. Yeah. I was thinking, fucking put this guy in a Smokey and the Bandit. I will watch the shit out of it.
Yeah, he does have a Burt Reynolds kind of look to him.
He does. It was insane. And here's an interesting tidbit coming up. He's in the Wonder Woman movie, Wonder Woman 84.
Oh, that looks so good.
And he's the villain, but he was also a villain back in 2011 in the Wonder Woman TV movie they made in 2011.
Don't know. I don't think I saw.
Yeah, I saw he's also in Wonder Woman 1984 too, I think.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, he's in the new one, and he's in like a TV movie they made in 2011. It's just kind of weird how they just, I guess that's how things happen. So yeah, Pedro Pascal is the Mandalorian. I got to give it up for Nick Nolte voicing Quill, the little bitty.
Well, I want to take a sec just before we move on to Quill. He's pretty talented of an actor to not see his face.
Well, and it's also not always him in the costume.
Right.
No, but to get some of those lines across and have them meaningful.
Yeah.
When he's constantly in full head.
Yeah, he doesn't have. I mean, his dialogue is literally just lines.
Yeah.
It's not. He doesn't have a paragraph. Very infrequently does he have much to say. Yeah, and he can't express any emotion.
But he does somehow.
Well, yeah. I mean, in his face he can't, but sometimes he can, slump his shoulders and just the way he delivers the line. And I think a lot of it too, they let the weight of the moment help with where he is, or the sound design, and coming in close on his face to show that he's thinking something over. There's ways they do it, but he does come across as a very emotional character for having virtually nothing to show. Yeah,
no face. I mean, you think about some of the interactions with Baby Yoo-hoo, and neither one of them really speak to each other, but you can see.
Yeah, Baby Yoo-hoo doesn't speak.
Exactly.
He makes baby noises and sometimes dog noises, and maybe it's a cat noise.
Yeah. He's a 50-year-old baby.
His voices are out there. But yeah, no, you're right. And a lot of the actors are doing a pretty bang-up job on this. Case in point, Nick Nolte, fucking 78 years old. That's like Harrison Ford age.
Yeah, it is. Well, Harrison Ford's like 73 or something.
Jesus. And really, his gruff voice is perfect for
it just
Quill. What's his species is an umquat?
An ugnaught.
Ugnaught. That was close. It sounds like
if you look at him, he does kind of look like Nick Nolte.
He does.
Put some of Nick Nolte's features into Quill.
He looks like Nick Nolte meets Paul Tuttle Sr. from American Choppers with the
just green.
You're right, though.
He really does. I have wanted to redo that American Choppers meme with using Quill instead of Paul Sr. so many times. But he just points his finger and says, "I've spoken." So listen, Nick Nolte, what else needs? If you don't know who he is, you're too young to listen to this podcast. He's basically the anti-Gary Busey, because like in the late 80s, early 90s, I got him mixed up a lot.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
it was like Gene Hackman and Robert Loggia.
Yep.
It was bad. And looking through the credits for the guy, I just want to say, listen, he's got some Disney credit. Bruton from Dinosaur.
I don't remember that movie that well.
Technically the antagonist, but not really the antagonist. But also, he was Bruce Banner's dad in Hulk.
Oh.
The Abomination? The Australian Hulk.
Oh.
So that's pre-Disney, so we don't fault the work. Keeping it Disney though, moving on, you got Combat Carl himself, Action Jackson, none other than Carl Weathers as Grief Carrigan. And I forgot that was Carl Weathers played Chubbs in Happy Gilmore. He just seemed so heavy then, and now he seems so much thinner. So it threw me.
A little chunky.
Dude, Apollo Creed, The Predator.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Doing a good job. I love me some Carl Weathers. This guy, Werner Herzog, or is it Werner? Werner. So he's the imp, or the client, depending on which slang you want to go on from chapter 2 or
world famous director.
He is, and I don't know him for that. I've heard his name. He sticks to mostly documentaries. He's rarely on the front side of the camera. I swear to God, when he was talking, I thought, oh God, he's from Game of Thrones too.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I got like a really creepy, like he could be Lord Baelish's dad kind of vibe off of him. He's not at that creepy. Obsessed with a kid though. Yeah, okay, so it works. I'll say he does have one thing in his acting credits. He's been on a couple episodes of The Simpsons as Walter Hottenhoffer. Just, go with
The
that.
Disney tie now. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Adding some female flair. You've got like the token woman, I guess, in Gina Carano.
She's badass though.
She is. Cara Dune is who she plays.
She's turned into one of my favorite characters.
The drop trooper. I didn't recognize her when she first came on screen. My wife said, "Hey, that's chick from Deadpool."
Yep.
And I was like, "Oh God, it is. It's less angry Rosie O'Donnell." And
that's exactly who it
more
is.
Fit, less angry Rosie.
Yeah. So I've been kind of paying attention. She's done a lot of interviews, and it's real interesting because she was on the verge of giving up completely on acting before she got this. Favreau.
Really?
Yeah. And she's very candid about it. It's. I definitely check out some of her interviews. Favreau came along at the right time for her. And let's see. My favorite person on this list, New Zealander Taika Waititi, who IG-11, director of Thor Ragnarok, voiced Korg in Endgame and Thor Ragnarok, and he is actually directing the next episode.
Yes, I was just saying that.
Or he already did, I guess. But yeah, that makes me excited. We'll probably get a lot of IG-11 in that episode. I bet he does a lot of stuff there. Forward to that. So yeah, and I guess rounding out the main characters, I would call main characters to the core characters. He was only there for like a hot 5 minutes in this last episode. You got Giancarlo Esposito, the primary villain. Not sure what all he's done a lot of TV. He's done a whole lot of TV.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, a lot of people have done Breaking Bad. They've been in this. He was a key in Jungle Book.
I didn't know that. Yeah,
didn't know that either.
Disney tie-in.
Yes, and probably something he's most proud of. He played the role of Hypnos in Monkey Bone. No good reason to watch it. It was the one Chris Kattan. If you're wondering, it's got a 19% on Rotten Tomatoes, so go check it out. Monkey Bone.
Yeah, 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm gonna hop right on that.
4.5 stars on IMDb. That's actually...
Wait some 2 hours.
Now the series is also full of bit parts, supporting actors and stuff like that. Even the first episode, you open up with Horatio Sands as the little green fucker that is the bounty there. You get Brian Posehn as the speeder driver that he ends up with. That comedian, I love him. And here, one of the coolest things that I found out doing this was the ferryman that he's talking to try to get this speeder is an actor, Chris Bartlett.
I know the name.
He studied under Anthony Daniels on how to act like a droid, to be blunt about it. And he's actually been in like 3 or 4 episodes of the series when they needed a droid. He has played almost all the life-size droids, and he actually portrays C-3PO in televised appearances where C-3PO needs to be there and they need someone to be C-3PO, but it's not in a movie because that's when you get the big talent. So he does C-3PO a lot, like on TV shows and stuff like that.
Kind of like how Tom Hanks' brother does the voice of Woody when it's not a Toy Story 4 movie.
Exactly. So I thought that was really cool that that's kind of what he does now. And I would, my favorite thing I found out, because, mentioning Quill, and someone is in that costume, and it is a wee bitty lass named Misty Rosas. She's a performance artist, and she brought him to life with that weird, almost kind of walks like an upright chimp a little bit, the way he walks.
Okay.
That's what I noticed. And looking at Misty Rosas's acting history, she's actually, been a gorilla in a gorilla costume.
No.
For several of her, for a couple of them. Yeah,
no.
she was Amy in the movie Congo. She was the gorilla in Congo.
Oh God.
And she was another gorilla in some other gorilla movie. But here's the best thing, guys. Back in 2002, she made her Disney debut as none other than Barry Barrington in the Country Bears movie.
Oh no, poor thing.
I actually thought that was pretty cool. I'm sorry. Barry Barrington in the Country Bears. And I mean, and
That movie's bad.
yes, it was. They didn't shoot the bear, but they shot the quill.
They should
so
have.
they put him down. It's this whole. Oh yeah, I should have prefaced this with spoiler alert before we started. And she's actually a professional dancer as well.
Most of the people who were able to contort their bodies and do weird walks and stuff do have some sort of dancing background.
So yeah, speaking of people who had small roles, let's talk about the Jawas.
Ba-dum-bum.
Ba-dum-bum. You got Douglas Farrell was one of the Jawas, and he was actually an Ewok in Return of the Jedi. Also, he was a stand-in for Howard the Duck.
Okay.
Just saying. You got a Jawa played by Molly Miller. She's just a really small. I don't know a good way to say this stuff without pissing off Maria. Okay.
She's a Twizzler. Just say she's a Twizzler.
She's a Twizzler.
She's usually a stunt double for like 10 and 12-year-old girls.
Okay.
All right. But she's actually listed, to bring this back around, she's in the next 2 Avatar movies. So
As a 12-year-old girl.
I don't know what she's
probably
doing.
a baby Navi.
Baby Navi that gets, it's going to be Home Alone or...
Well, the baby Navi should be tall because aren't they like 7 or 8 tall?
Well, yeah, so a baby Navi
So
would
a
be...
brand new baby Navi will be born.
Yeah, 10-year-old girl tall.
It'll be Twizzler size.
Right? And can you imagine the hijinks the baby Navi gets into?
I don't want to know where it puts a tail thing, whatever the hell that is.
It puts it in your ear. Haven't you seen the movie? And another little individual, Kyle Paycheck, is a Jawa, but he was a stand-in for Guardians of the Galaxy. I think he was like we're going to put Rocket over here, and that's where he stood.
Probably.
And Agent Carter. But he has done stunt work in every episode of The Mandalorian.
Okay.
Which I think means he's been in more episodes than Pedro.
Yeah.
So I think
Pedro
there's...
doesn't do any of this stunt work for Mandalorian.
Right, but I think there's one episode that he just wasn't in at all, like physically.
Yeah, because it was one that was all action. That was probably Brendan Wayne.
So
Maybe that was the one on the space.
I think that's the one it was actually, because I think it was that one.
Because that's the one that would make the most sense.
And let's see here, Chapter 3, Mando gets into a kerfuffle with another Mandalorian named Paz Vizsla. Paz, he's in the armory getting his shit forged up with his Beskar, and they get in that little fight. That's not Jon Favreau behind in the armor, but that's the voice you hear.
Yep.
Chapter 5, the fan service episode. Starting off, you got Amy Sedaris as the mechanic there in that hangar bay.
She was good.
She was good, but I did not know it was her.
I didn't either, because she looks different in everything she does.
Yeah.
It's like if you just look her up, you're like, oh, okay, she looks like a normal person. I have never seen her look like that in anything.
She didn't do her typical Amy Sedaris voice.
Exactly. But I mean, the funny thing, you say this is the fan service episode. This is the episode with the least rating.
I didn't say I liked it.
No, I'm talking about on because in my research I saw a graph of and this was one of the lowest rated.
Well, listen, it's got, and I don't keep up with a lot of TV. Jake Cannavale was the bounty hunter. Cannavale, whatever. Fuck that fucking fuck.
Bobby Cannavale's.
If you've seen his Twitter post recently.
Oh yes.
No.
He says
the shit out of
Rise of Skywalker. He goes to, or is it Instagram? He's all like, well, I guess since I'm in the Disney family now, or the Star Wars family, I can't talk bad about the movie. And then he comes back with Rise of Skywalker was hands down the worst Star Wars movie. An absolute fucking failure. Rise of Skywalker.
You want to know how you get fired? That's how you get fired.
Yeah. He says, by the way,
that's why it was only in a half a fucking episode.
Dumbass title was worse than Phantom Menace and Last Jedi combined. Fight me. Somebody will. Somebody will.
It's not my position too.
He will get his silly looking ass
you will
handed
no
to
longer
him.
have a job. Congratulations. You've talked yourself. You've opinioned yourself out of a job.
Well, I mean, he's dead in the series. But that said,
no, but it's not just that. Like, okay, Star Wars is big enough that if you say you were in Star Wars and you show up somewhere at like Star Wars Galactic Nights or like any of these Comic-Cons,
oh yeah, no, he's not going to get
a draw. You are not invited to any of that now.
Nope.
And he won't be at all.
That's what I'm talking. It's not necessarily. Yes, he dies in the series, but I'm talking about all the stuff that usually goes along with being part of Star Wars.
Right. You get on that panel with Warwick Davis. Davis.
Yeah, exactly.
I think even Warwick Davis has a little bit more clout at Comic-Con.
Well, Warwick Davis has also been another.
Yeah, fucking Willow, man.
Exactly.
Now, speaking of this shithead who doesn't like Star Wars movies, he killed quite possibly one of the shortest lived and what I had a lot of hope for a cameo of Ming-Na Wen.
So
Shit,
pissed
well, I
off
think she'll
when
be
they
back.
killed her off so quickly. I was so angry.
And if you don't-
so very angry.
If you don't know who she was the sniper that Mando and this bounty hunter ass was going out to grab. And she's Agent May in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I don't know, the voice of Milan.
Mm-hmm. And she's just an overall badass.
She really is a badass. She's
She's a
like
Disney legend at this point.
57 years old, 58 years old.
And she does a lot of her own fight scenes still.
Yep. She
So
still wears a whole lot of leather.
Which
Yeah.
I'm not complaining I'm not complaining about. Sorry. She looks good.
She
She's
does.
I would like to see more. I'm hoping the guy, whoever the hell that guy was, is able to save her son.
It'd be interesting. We'll see what happens. Tusken Raiders are in this episode, and one of the Tusken Raiders that does the negotiations with Mando with the sign language. He's actually a deaf actor named Troy Kotsur,
That's really cool.
and he developed their own little signs for that and trained Pedro on how to deliver them to make it look genuine and authentic. And he's kind of on like a retainer with
That's really
with
awesome.
Lucasfilm now or whatever. Whenever they have any more sign and stuff like that involved, he's going to be their contact to help out with that. And that is really cool.
I really hope it's a little bit. I don't know American sign language at all.
Right.
I don't know any sign language, but American doesn't matter because each country, because it's American sign language, they don't necessarily know the same sign language someplace
Sure.
else. So I hope they changed it enough that it's
Could be more universal.
Yeah.
a
So
little bit alien, but not so that like when we hear speech, we know it's speech. We just don't know exactly what they're saying. I hope they were able to translate that somehow into that sign language.
right.
Am I making sense?
No.
Yeah, I think so. I know what you're thinking of saying.
Fuck you, Mikey.
And the shortest, and we thought Ming-Na Wen had the shortest role here. Nope. Steve Bloom voices the spaceport operator at the very beginning that tells Mando where to land. He has done voice work in virtually every Star Wars video game and animated production going way back into the 90s. He's been in pretty much Star Wars Rebels, Clone Wars, every freaking video game. He's doing work in that. So it's kind of fun to have him do a little bit in there, just to get him on the books. Moving forward, chapter 6, The Prisoner has got several people in it. Real quick, you got Natalia Tana, whatever. She's the crackhead named Cyan, whatever. It's got an X.
She was the blue one.
Yes, she's also the Nympho Tonks character in Harry Potter
Oh, okay.
and Osha in Game of Thrones.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. I hated her.
In Game of Thrones or in The Mandalorian?
In this.
Oh God, everybody did, which is a credit to her as an actress because everybody hated her.
I wanted her dead. Like the first second she walked on the screen, I'm like, she needs to die. She didn't
Yeah.
even have to talk, and I'm like, she needs to go.
I know
She needs to go now.
she was so that character was so much. I mean, it was so much.
And she's not dead.
No, none of them died.
None of them are.
Well,
Okay. I don't even have those two guys on here because. Damn, and really, speaking of didn't die, like I said, Bill Burr, I'm told is a comedian. I'm not familiar with him at all.
He is.
I don't know.
Yeah,
He's a pretty good.
Clancy Brown, love that guy. My son Boston watches a lot of The Flash on the CW, and Clancy Brown is prominent in the first 2 or 3 seasons.
Who was he in Flash?
He was like the general guy who was always fighting with Wells about metas, and he was responsible for Grodd. And then
Oh, okay, so
Grodd took him over.
That wasn't the
his
first
brain.
season.
It's like I think season 1 or 2. It is early.
It had to be 2. I watched season 1. I don't think I made it. to 2.
Okay. He's also the voice of Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob.
No.
Fucking A right he is. And he plays the big devil-looking guy named Berg in The Mandalorian that can tolerate fire and also tolerate being crushed by 2 fucking doors. But that's Mr. Krabs, and I saw that I was like, no.
It would
He
have
also
been funnier if he was Patrick.
a bunch of movies, a bunch of voiceovers in Clone Wars.
Yeah,
Played Darth Maul's brother. He's in
Jerry Maul,
Savage
Savage
Average
Oprah's.
Oprah's?
Opress.
Oh, I thought you
I
said.
heard Oprah's too. I'm like,
And he's also in video game Bounty Hunter, Star Wars Bounty Hunter.
I heard Oprah's.
I did too, and I'm thinking, well, was that like some group from Sons of Anarchy or something? The Savage Oprahs?
You get a Mandalorian, and you get a Mandalorian.
And you get a baby you.
You get a baby
you.
You're getting Beskar, and you're getting Beskar. Finishing out that episode, at the very end, you see the 3 X-Wing pilots that come in and blow up the spaceship, the spaceport, the space thing. That's 3 of the directors that have directed some of these episodes. Rick Amuia, Amuana, Camp Amuana, Deborah Chow, and Dave Filoni.
Filoni is now Star Wars royalty.
Yeah?
There's a petition going around to have him replace Kathleen Kennedy.
Those don't work.
No, one's a business person.
Right. The greatest cameo of all in all of this series so far, though, would be amiss if we didn't mention the 501st Legion showing up in Chapter 7. So when you see all those pretty shiny white stormtroopers come out at the very end of it.
There were only supposed to be 4.
Yes, that's what I hear.
Well, it was because they didn't have enough money to make stormtrooper costumes. So
no, I doubt that was it. I think they were invited to, hey, we're doing this, and I can picture people them reaching out to them to do it.
Well, to hear to read the stories, Favreau and Filoni, I don't know that guy, Filoni. They actually didn't have enough costumes. That's a legitimate reasoning that they did not have enough costumes for this, but they did reach out to the 501st. They just didn't say, because we're shooting a movie. They all thought they were showing up for some kind of an event and they needed a whole lot of stormtroopers. So all these average Joes showed up, and like the look on their faces when they realized they were about to be in a Star Wars.
That's awesome.
But you can't tell anybody anything about what you see.
Well, that's a disclosure agreement.
Right. But that was really cool.
Who is the guy? Who is the leader of the Death Guards in that with the foldable
That's Giancarlo Esposito.
Right. Okay.
Muff Diver or Moff Ferguson.
Moff Gideon.
That's it.
So now, and he's going to be in it more or no?
I'm assuming he is. Yeah.
They don't have anything listed for episode 8 yet on IMDb. Okay. So.
But I mean, he became the big bad.
I don't know if he's the big bad yet.
He's
right now. I mean, he's apparently above he killed the client.
Yeah. So.
The
client was nothing.
And he killed all the stormtroopers that were in there. Oddly enough, they couldn't hit any of the. He didn't want to hit them because they knew where the baby was. They knew where Yoo-Hoo was. So it makes sense they wouldn't just roll up in there and take out Grief.
Yeah, I'm not ready. I'm still not ready to talk about that. It gives me anxiety to get.
What was IG-11 then?
I don't know. Well, that's all. I mean, that's a lot. God, I have cameos and stuff. Tim, tell me Easter eggs.
Well, you missed one cameo.
Well, I left a little bit for Yins.
Well, you missed. You left an A.
You left a cameo that I know of anyway, that I found in my research, and that was Matt Lanter, who plays the voice of Anakin Skywalker in all the animated series. He has more screen time as Anakin than Hayden Christensen or the actor who played Darth.
But what does he play in?
He plays the driver of the prison ship.
Oh, okay.
With the badass helmet, or as they said, questionable uniform or questionable headgear or something like that. Yeah. Ridiculous helmet or something. Yeah, I thought that was great because that is an absolute nod back to the early original trilogy uniform.
Okay, so there's one Easter egg that shows up multiple times in this series, and it's arguably one of the banes of Star Wars fans' existence. Can we guess what that is?
Wilhelm scream?
I have a bad feeling about this.
No. The holiday special.
Oh, yes. Life
from
Day.
From the very beginning, when he picks up Horatio Sands says he was hoping to be free for Life Day.
Yep.
The weapon that Mandalorian uses, the long rifle, the spears on the end, which is technically called the Amon Phase Pulse Blaster. The only time you ever see that weapon is when Boba Fett uses it during the holiday special.
You know, he hasn't had that rifle in several episodes.
Right, where does it go? I
don't know.
Sometimes he pulls it out of his back.
Or it could be, you have to realize, they explain it when he had, what I want to call them birds of prey, but that's where the glowy dart things.
Whistling birds.
Whistling birds. When he had those, they're very expensive. And she flat out tells him, don't use these unless you flat out have to. They're extremely extremely expensive. So I'm wondering if the ammo for that gun is just as expensive and just as pricey because it pretty much disintegrates you when you get shot with it.
But it's also kind of shocky at the other end of it, though. It would still be kind of a melee weapon. I don't know. And in all of the promotional anythings, he's got that hanging over his shoulder because it's got that recognizable stock on the back end. I don't know. I was just wondering where it is. If, weapons are his religion, you'd think he'd want the biggest Bible out there.
Well, I mean, in the last episode, it kind of makes sense because they told him not to take any weapons and run 2 out.
Right.
So I'm guessing it's on the ship.
You know what's not on the ship?
Baby you.
He gone.
You know what's still on the ship that should have been?
He is not gone, Mikey. I will fight you right now.
I tell you right now, we're gonna.
Should I turn off the TV and walk away from the
Friday morning? Okay, we're gonna find out what happened with IG-11. What the fuck happened? Why?
Yeah.
There's gonna be some type of 3 hours earlier kind of thing or whatever they do.
IG-11 is still
the
on
day
the
before.
ship, confused.
He's just
IG-11 is pouring tea for himself.
Pouring tea.
Yeah. So, and the last reference to the holiday special is when you see the flashbacks of Mando as a kid with his parents. His parents are dressed in the red robe from Life, Celebrating Life.
Those are some deep cuts, man.
Mm-hmm.
So Jon Favreau is obviously a fan of the holiday special.
I would kind of disappointed that we didn't get a new one this year. The popularity of
There was talk.
or something in the parks for Life Day. I wonder if they do that in Batuu, if they walk around and wish you happy Life Day.
So when Mando meets up with the Jawas, you see a red and white R5-4 droid that's just like the one from New Hope that has the bad motivator. So it could very well be the same droid.
It could.
When Mando first goes to the forge to get his first piece of armor made, in the background you see a bounty hunter wearing the same color marking armor as Boba Fett.
I didn't catch that.
See, but how old would Boba be at this point?
Wouldn't be that old because it's right after Return of the Jedi. This happens right after Return of the Jedi, and he died, well, allegedly. And there's always been that fan rumor that he got out of the Sarlacc pit with his jetpack.
Boba is not a Mandalorian.
Nope.
Boba is
Neither
just
was
part
Mando.
of. But Boba was more part of the. Boba is technically a clone.
It's not a real. Everybody's favorite pet to hate, Kawaki monkey lizard, made an appearance.
Yep.
Yes.
They're apparently very tasty.
Well, I wouldn't know.
Well, they were cooked in Mandalorian.
You can buy one in Batuu.
Yeah, you can. I don't want to
Barbecued?
I wouldn't cook that one. So Quill, who is an Ugnaught, talks about being an indentured servant to the Empire in Cloud City. Who the Ugnaughts are the ones that are responsible for helping Vader put Han Solo in carbonite. So I wonder if Quill is one of the ones that was there today, put Han carbonite.
We won't know because he's dead.
Yep. I hope he's not dead too, but.
Adam is holding up so much hope for season 2.
I just want a whole bunch of people not to be dead anymore. I don't know what's wrong with
Wants IG-11 to come running down the ramp of the starship and pick him up and nurse him back to health real quick, and then they take off and they show
with
up.
tea.
With tea. Well, hey, it works for Mr. Miyagi.
Right?
There's a couple of things that are not quite Easter eggs, like the scene where Mando first meets Jake Cannavale in the canteen, and Jake's sitting at the booth with his feet up like Han Solo did.
Yep.
It's just a little nods to stuff like that. But in Mando, their droids are allowed inside. The bartender's actually is a droid. There's some hints to like lines in the show are kind of repeated in some of the movies, like when Mando and Toro first meet up with the assassin, and Mandalorian tells Toro that she's got the high ground. Kind of a little nod to Revenge of the Sith.
Saw that just today. It's long.
It is.
All 3 of them fuckers are long, man.
So, Cara Dune, the last scene when they told her she should hide her stripes, which is the rebel stripe tattoo on her arm. She also has the rebel insignia tattooed under her eye. I didn't notice it until that last episode. I was like, look at that, that's a rebel signal on her eye. It's not a birth.
Yeah, it just kind of looks like a mole.
Yeah,
it's one of those, Buddy's garage tattoos. What that is.
And that scene where she's fighting like that MMA style cage match with the
one that's got that like power rope between them.
Yes.
Yeah, she's fighting. I'm not gonna butcher this species name. Dathomirian Zabrak, which is Darth Maul's species, and that's the only other time that you see Darth Maul.
In the show, you have his brothers around.
His brother,
Jerry Maul.
Gary,
Bob Maul.
Bob.
So this is the one I found the most interesting in the last episode that we saw, episode 7, when the Imperial troops come in on that transporter.
Oh yeah, the ground-based transporter.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was the first toy that was made from Kenner that was not a recreation of something from the movie. It's Kenner made this toy on its out of thin air. They created it themselves.
Oh,
That's cool.
that is pretty cool.
And then after that, it started popping up. Do what?
So now it's officially canon. So now,
Well, it started popping up in movies and Rebels, and then now it's in.
okay. I thought you were saying this is the first time it's been in.
No, it was in.
On
It
screen.
started in one of the later movies, and then in Rebels.
I was going to say, and the price for those just went up to collectors.
Well, sure, I'm sure it went up anyway.
Well, I want to say they also Kenner no longer.
No, it's
I don't think Kenner no
Hasbro,
longer
isn't it
exists.
now?
Hasbro does it now, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Kenner exists anymore.
That's a shame.
Well, going back to Jar Jar, there's that scene where Mayfield messes with the Mandalorian and asks him if he wears the helmet because he's a Gungan. And he actually starts speaking with the Gungan accent. He even says the Yusa.
Yes.
He said away.
I thought that was funny. It's everything that I found. I'm sure if I go back and watch the episodes again, we can find more.
Oh yeah. Now earlier you mentioned you guys were asking who Adam was asking about the bad that Moff
Gideon.
Moff
I'll
Gideon.
never remember his last name or his first name right. Have we seen a TIE fighter fold wings up like that before?
No, that was the first
it was
time.
So badass.
That was so
It
badass.
was eternally badass. I saw that and I was like, oh, that makes
And
total
that's it.
sense because now you're at ground level when you exit.
Mm-hmm.
It's badass, but I have a problem with continuity because they're not in any of the newer movies.
There could have been a flaw. Well, we didn't really see that much TIE fighter except for TIE fighter fighting. We didn't see any of them land recently.
That's
Kylo's had a totally different shape.
They're always
Yeah.
hanging up inside of they're hanging up inside of star carriers. So I don't know. It's you never. Yeah, Adam says you never see them land on the ground. So, but at the same time, you don't really ever see them in atmosphere much either.
No, you do.
Yeah, they were all over it in
Oh.
episode 7.
Yeah, and Rogue One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Rogue. Still one of my favorites.
Yes. Okay. So of the 7 episodes that have come out, what's your top? Your number one, Adam?
There's different things for different reasons.
No,
I'm serious.
You just can't do it.
I loved the last episode because it made my jaw drop.
Yeah.
When something that and these aren't long episodes at all. These are not like 1 hour long dramas that you're watching on TV. These are half hour, 45 minutes at most. I don't know these characters that well that I should have any kind of emotional attachment to them. And I am all bought in. So the series as a whole has to be excellent for that tap. And the writing has to be right. And the character development has to be right. And this is hitting on everything. So, I mean, for me, I'd probably first episode because it was the introduction and the shock at the end and the excitement at the end. It's just really
And
well
it's
paced.
brought you into a whole new part of the Star Wars universe.
Oh yeah,
It's
because
It's surprisingly well paced.
ain't nobody thought about Yodas in a long time in Star Wars, man.
Mhm.
And then Favreau's like, hey, why don't we just, do this? Yeah,
Well, because Lucas had originally the Yoda species was just supposed to be a one-off with Yoda, and then he created Yaddle, and that was it. But I mean, there's obviously got to be more if there was 2.
right? Well, I don't know, because let me tell you a story about Darth Plagueis.
Yeah, Force babies. Force baby.
Let's not get into that. We can't get into that on the podcast.
Yeah.
I had some issues with that movie. I mean,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but there were issues.
So, do we have any speculations on what's going on and what's going to happen next?
Everybody's alive.
They were just
There
stunned.
you go.
The blasters were set to stun.
That's it.
Um,
I don't know. I was trying to I was honestly, the other day, I'm like, okay, so how could Quill have switched the baby out with a dummy? And that's what the scout troopers are running off with. But you plainly see a green head wrapped up
Yeah.
in the swaddling clothes when they take off. So it's like, no, that's not what happened.
And if I'm not remembering correctly, do we see him move when they
No.
pick him?
But that was the other weirdness, because every time he's fallen, he's usually fallen and skittered away.
Yes, exactly.
So there's something not right there that I can't figure out just yet.
Maybe IG-11 came swapped.
He would have been really, really, really fast.
And he would have to have already a dummy already built.
Let's talk about really, 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 really fast. Those speeder bikes apparently travel at the speed of light.
The hot rod speeder bike?
Yeah, to reach him when he had an hour head start heading back.
Well,
But
he was
I
also
mean, it's
on
an
a bird.
animal. He might have had to stop. He might have had to feed.
I know. There's a lot. I know a lot of that is It's just how they compressed it for time to fit in there.
Yeah. Also took them 2 days to get there. Now it's only taking them 1 day to get back. But I wasn't gonna mention that.
Well, they had to camp out, and get attacked by fucking pterodactyls. Poisonous pterodactyls.
Pterodactyls, yes.
Poisonous pterodactyls, yes.
I mean, do we want to talk about Yoo-hoo curing Griefy?
I don't know if I have a problem with this or not.
It's been mentioned before in canon, but I think this is the first time that you've seen it.
It was mentioned before, and it has been in canon with the healing. My problem is that he doesn't know how to work the Force that well. So,
yeah, 'cause you see, he was shocked when he thought he shot the other droid.
Like when the droid exploded, he thought he did that. He didn't do that. So I don't know. He can do advanced poison healing.
He could also choke the shit out of Cara Dune.
But that was under stress, so I got that part.
Yes, Daddy.
Exactly.
Harder. Yes.
But all of a sudden, he's able to heal? Like, well?
To the guy who was paying people to kill him?
Well, capture him. They didn't want him dead.
But they wouldn't have turned it down.
No, correct.
So, yeah. And you know what? Where was Mr. Camino, doctor guy, in this episode?
Oh, yeah. He disappeared after that episode. He's nowhere around. Maybe he ran?
Here's what I see happening. I expect the next episode to have a whole lot of action, obviously. With that many stormtroopers, you're going to need it, and you're probably going to have the Mandalorians come back again.
I don't know. I think they would have shut down the guild. I think they would have shut that down. I think they all would have had to scatter after that. They all would have had to escape the guild at that, because they all became public enemy number one. I don't think they would have stuck around on that island, on that planet. Doesn't make sense.
That's the only firepower I could see coming and helping, though.
Who says they don't get captured?
Get out, and that's cliffhanger.
Here I am looking at happy endings.
Okay, have you seen any of the Star Wars movies?
There's really no happy endings in Star Wars movies. There's just a neutral.
There's a mutual bittersweet ending. There's never something ultimately happy.
They got like fucking medals at the end of A New Hope.
Yeah, but you could tell. The story wasn't over. They just won that battle. They didn't
win the war.
I know. And Princess Leia, for having her entire planet blown up, very resilient the way she bounced back.
She had no choice.
I think there's something more with that mom on I forgot what episode it was. First went to Cara Dune's planet, and they were in that farm. They were farming the shrimp.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
she learned how to shoot shooting like a.
She shot way too well.
I want to know more about her backstory. Just something.
No.
Yeah,
I have two different theories about Baby Yoda, but one of them has to do with Rise of Skywalker. So talk about that.
No, I haven't. I've been trying.
I mean, we can't talk about it yet because there's still people who are avoiding it or not been able to see it because of the holiday. So
I'm trying to get caught up on everything so I can take the kid to see it. That's what I've been trying to do. That's what we've been watching it, and I've made the executive decision to just to get him caught up. I think we're going to go ahead and skip Solo.
Yeah, you don't need it.
And we'll probably end up skipping
probably
Rogue.
skip Rogue One
Yeah,
too.
we're just going to go ahead and roll right into A New Hope, trudge through their original trilogy, and then deal with the most recent ones. So I can say, hey, let's go see it now that it's been out for 3 weeks. We'll go on a matinee day. I'll get in for like $4.
Well, we all know they can't kill off Baby Yoda.
No, because they got shit coming out.
They just can't. People would stop watching the show. Nobody would. They have to humanize the Mandalorian with you.
Oh yeah, he's Lady Brienne, and Mandalorian is Sir Jamie.
Mandalorian show, but not
because he's the one who makes the Mandalorian have feelings. Mandalorian has to have a purpose.
And everybody that comes across Baby loves him for the most part.
Duh.
The one droid in the Prisoner episode,
droid.
when they were going all fucking Home Alone, and he was hiding around, leading that droid all over the fucking shit.
That was some funny shit.
I was hoping he would set a damn trap somewhere, just to watch it fall down or something.
I wanted him to Kevin McAllister that droid.
Oh God, it's so bad, man.
All right, so I have a question. What is one cameo that makes sense that you would like to see?
Yeah, it happens right after Return of the Jedi. So
I mean, it would be difficult with the age of a lot of the actors.
No, but there are some characters that you could choose.
Yeah, with CGI, I mean, they could.
They do amazing
Look what they did with
things.
Grand Moff Tarkin and
True.
The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah, look what they did with Princess Leia at the end of.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be in the Star Wars universe. Is there an actor or somebody that you would like to play in the Star Wars universe?
Oh God, yeah, okay, I'll be this guy, Nathan Fillion from Firefly, Captain Malcolm. Nathan Fillion. I could see him come in. I think it would almost be funny if it was one of those Thor versus Peter Quill kind of things where him and the Mandalorian, and they're both kind of bouncing off each other, or mostly Nathan Fillion.
I think the Mandalorian would kill him.
No. I think it would because the Mandalorian has come across like so many people he's he's known from before that wants to kill him, but he doesn't try to kill them. I just think that would add a little bit of, you know, comedy, and it would be just like a bit scene, and then he would die, because that's what you do with cameos, kill them. So you can't have them back again, just like Fox killed Firefly. Bring it back, Disney.
What was the thing's name with the big eyes? The bar owner, the cantina owner.
Maz Kanata?
Yes, I would like to see her.
Yeah, because she's been around for millennia, so...
So Maz Kanata can fit in that timeline.
I mean, there's a bunch of characters that can fit in that timeline. You can squeeze Ahsoka Tano in there.
Oh, that would... No, Ahsoka she'd be pretty old. She'd be an adult.
Any of the Rebels characters?
Roger.
Kanan or kid's name?
I don't remember. I have to rewatch it.
But they could be in story timeline.
How was Alan Tudyk not in this thing?
Give it time.
Give it time. He'll show up as a droid somewhere.
Do y'all think we're gonna have Jedis in that, or Sith, or any Force users besides Baby Yoo-hoo?
I don't think so, because at the time of the storyline, the Sith were allegedly gone. Death of Vader and Palpatine.
That doesn't mean they were gone.
I
sort of like how all the Jedi were gone.
Yeah,
the Jedi wasn't gone. You had Luke still.
No, but like all the Jedis that we're getting now.
I would imagine that you'll hear them referenced. Maybe not so much Jedis.
I say we have to, because how would they know to look for Baby?
Right, that's what I mean. Who is sending Moff Gideon out here? Like, someone's still pulling those strings.
Yep.
Well, that's why I said, with the storyline from Rise of the Skywalker, I have a theory about why they want it.
Well, you can't tell me.
No, I don't think that's it. They know to look for him. And who knows? Maybe he's just there. See, I can't.
The theory I had early on was that Baby Who was actually a Sith. He did force choke everything at the Sith power.
It's just a power. It's
a force power.
I just don't know how we would know how to do all these.
Yeah, that's a whole can of
look,
worms.
I can choke you all of a sudden. Look at me. Look what I can do. I just...
Yeah, that's a can of worms that I don't think there's a good answer to if you go down that path. That's like...
I mean, he is 50 years old.
He can force choke people and move stuff around. How did he let himself get captured by those thugs?
Unless he got knocked out when they shot.
But he's not... But that's the thing. He's really not good at moving stuff around.
No, just mudhorns.
Yeah, he picked up the mudhorn pretty well.
But again, that was under stress.
Not really.
His friend was going to die.
But he seemed pretty calm with doing it.
No, I'm talking... But his friend was in danger.
He only acts out if there is a moment that would require it. Like, and here's something else. Everybody keeps talking about, you know, when he peeps his head down in the last episode to hear Kara and Mandalorian discussing the plan of meeting up with Grief and, you know, all this stuff, and he peeks his head down the little hatch. Here's him talking about it, then he runs up there and starts wiggling the flight stick. People are saying, well, he was trying to get away because he didn't want to go back and get turned over again. I think he was just fucking around with the flight stick.
I think he was just fucking around with the light stick.
I think he was just fucking around too. Just like he was playing with the thing and took the knob off the...
Or pushing the button and then looking at him, looking him in the face and pushes the button.
Yeah.
Fucking...
like a kid.
Every parent saw that and was
still
like,
a kid.
Yep.
It's exactly what that was. But that's what makes him relatable.
Yeah, it'll be another season before we get all these answers.
It'll be more than one if Disney has their way.
Yeah, well, we'll never get the answers if it's anything like been recent.
Okay, so as we're getting ready to roll credits on the Mando show, which, you know, we kind of teased about doing a recap show every episode, but God, that's a lot of extra work, and we just want to enjoy the show. So I think if we dig too deep into it, it's not that enjoyable. So we just decided, hey, let's talk about, you know, what's going on a little bit behind the scenes. You see a lot of character actors in TV series, you know, like this, and I want to give credit to the unsung heroes of this that give it a visual look, because it still has a feel of a TV episode, but it also has a feel of a big budget, you know, motion picture. It manages to catch both of those, and
definitely
that's really cool, because you got the high production value, but it still feels like it could have been, well, because I guess most of it was shot on a soundstage in Burbank. So there you go. But yeah, I just want to, you know, talk a little bit about numbers on it, and you know, things that you didn't think to look for with the characters and the actors, you know, the technology and Tim's Easter egg hunt that he went on over there. So, you know, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good time to sit down and talk about it without getting way too bogged down in the nerddom, because that's easy to do and really easy when you've had a few drinks, and then everybody starts yelling at each other about Jar Jar Binks, and we didn't want to get into that. So it always goes back to, you know what, if I could get Ernest in an episode of The Mandalorian, I would, but he's dead.
I was just gonna say he's a Force ghost.
He's a Force. Holy shit, he is.
You just gave Mike an idea for a new t-shirt.
Darth Vernius. He would be.
Ernest saves the Force.
Ernest saves Yoda. That's what it would be.
Ernest saves Baby Yoda.
Ernest goes to Batu.
No, Ernest goes to Dagobah.
Ernest goes to Dagobah.
God.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, so there you go. Talking Ernest goes to camp now in the middle of a fucking Mandalorian show. What if he took his helmet off and he fucking looked like Ernest?
Right.
Oh my goodness. With that being said, though, Tim, what are your closing remarks here on The Mandalorian?
I'm just loving the series. It's been great so far. It sucks that there's only 8 episodes, and then we gotta wait another year probably. Enjoy it while it's here. I'm probably gonna watch it again. Try to catch some more Easter eggs, and if you guys have found some that we missed, please let us know back and see if we catch them.
Yeah, because after tomorrow, you can sit, and hopefully when this drops, it'll be tomorrow, but after the Friday episode, number 8, you can just sit down and binge them instead of having to wait. So you can just roll through
But I like
them
how
in
they
an
dropped
afternoon.
it as weekly episodes.
Yeah, because everybody talks about it and you get that hype that builds up for it.
It's also, I actually pay attention.
When I binge something, I tend to forget what happened.
I walk away, I get bored, I get fidgety, I start looking at my iPhone, I start looking at Facebook. For 30 minutes to like 2 hours, I can sit there and pay attention. After that 2-hour mark, I start getting a little, especially if there's like a definite stop to an episode and a start to another. It's not like a movie where they just flow one right into the other.
Right. Yeah, you're stopping, you're starting, you're skipping intros. Maybe you want to watch the recap bit. Adam, what have you got for us this evening?
I'm loving the series. Everybody lives.
Everybody lives.
You can burst your bubble.
Shut up, Tim.
You're gonna be disappointed.
Tim.
Yeah, they're gonna have.
Everybody lives.
They're gonna have to build
Tim.
a tiny casket.
Mikey, we are no longer friends.
Well, they can't. They can't get Krill to build it.
Nope.
Tim, we are no longer friends.
I sure thought when he built that new cradle that it was gonna have some kind of explosive in it. And that was gonna be part of the trap.
That's what I expect. I still expect this to happen.
Fucking blasters on it.
There's something in there that's gonna go crazy.
But he's not in it. Oh.
No, but
Oh, okay. I forgot. Yes, the little pram. That's what the imp called it. The pram. Yeah, that's still
yes,
with the
there's
guys.
something in that's gonna go woohoo woohoo. So
Wouldn't it go yoo-hoo, yoo-hoo?
no, yoo-hoo is not there. So it's gonna murr, 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 murr.
And then it just detonates because
Yes.
it's booty trapped.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm truly loving this series. I'm really enjoying it. And I hope the writing stays as strong as it is. As stupid as this sounds, and I'm not ready for it to end, I hope the ending is as strong as the beginning.
Yeah, don't just make it a cliffhanger for the sake of having a cliffhanger.
Exactly. I don't want it just to end like this last episode did, where it's like, what the fuck? So yeah, give me a true ending. Resolve something. Create something new. I'm fine with that, but resolve something now. On to some closing remarks then. January is right around the corner. Dopey is right around the corner. There are a few of us who have decided to go to Splitsville at about 3:45. A few of us have made reservations just to eat and hang out. We'll probably maybe do some bowling after, just to visit with everybody, say hello. So that's where we'll be, and that would be Wednesday, January, because I don't have it.
8th.
I want to
Yes,
say it's
the
January 8th. Yeah, so that'll be Wednesday, January 8th. Splitsville, obviously in Orlando. At about 3:45, we have a reservation to actually sit and eat, so we'll be there for a bit just to say hi, make sure we can see everybody. Races are the days after, and then a few of us are getting on a boat, so look forward to seeing y'all down there. Princess, shirt is coming, correct, Mikey?
Yes, it will. I'll either make it blue or I'll make it pink.
Fair enough. Why not half blue and half?
They don't offer that at Publix.
The design can be half blue and half blue.
Well, yeah, I guess.
There you go. One to grow on. That's February. We'll have more announcements about what we're doing after the holidays. We do have some open. I think we have some spots open for some of the dinners, but I'm not positive. I have to check on that. Also, we have the main event for this 2020 year coming up, and that's BFF. We do have some open tickets still for the Italy Epcot experience that we have going on with the private fireworks viewing, open bar, and finger food. So if you want to get in for that, we have, I want to say, about 30 or 40 spots open at this. So if it's something you want to do, get in now because they are filling up. I think that's all.
That's a
I
lot.
think I did good.
You had a lot.
It was a lot going on
proud of
next year.
myself.
Anything happening in the immediate future?
Well, in the relatively immediate future, I think we're going to go live. And I think we're doing it New Year's Eve.
So a New Year's Eve hangout if you don't have anything else to do or anywhere to go or anyone to be with. And we're all making out at midnight.
Right. I don't know if that's depressing or exciting the way
If I knew it was going to be that kind of party.
Put your dick in the mashed potatoes?
Yes, sir.
But what we're planning on doing is if y'all have Skype, you don't need any special recording equipment. There will be time limits on this one. We don't know. We haven't figured out how it's all going to work so that everybody gets a little bit of an opportunity to talk with us live. And y'all get to say your New Year's wishes and say your stuff to Three Seats Nation. So that'll be starting between 8:30ish on New Year's Eve Eastern time or Disney World time or American time, whichever way you want to look at it. I think that's all. Again, am I forgetting something? I feel like I am now.
No, I think that was most all of it there. Well, hopefully I get this edited up and we drop it right before episode 8, chapter 8. Can't call it episodes. They couldn't call them episodes because the episodes in the movies they call it chapters. That was kind of funny. Chapter 8 should drop, the day after this drops. So I'll be interested to get in the chat there on Three Sheets in the spoiler post where everyone can I think decompress after everything happens the next episode. So.
And hopefully we get some kind of resolution.
There has to.
Or at least some closure on all the murder we just saw.
On just something. I don't need all the holds. I don't need all the stories clear up, but I do need some of them.
Well, we look forward to all of the commentary that we're going to get on Facebook. And if you're not a member, go to facebook.com and just type Three Sheets in your search bar. You'll find us, Three Sheets to Mouse. So I want to say thanks to my prestigious co-hosts. Yes, Adam, you're kind of bowing, and I appreciate that.
I'm sorry.
Prestigious.
I've been drinking it up
I've
pretty.
been called a lot of things in my time, but
I'll take it.
And with that, I think someone's hit me with a shepherd's crook. So say good night, Dick.
Good night,
Good night, Dick.
And thank you.